A special edition, very special edition of the Behind the U podcast. We are here with Vince Wilfork, who has been around Miami. Now, I saw you at A&M.
Yeah,
You made sure to tell me you were going to practice today.
absolutely.
But I do appreciate you doing this. And you were excited. You said, if I get a chance to talk Hurricanes, I'm all in.
Absolutely. I bleed orange and green. It's not a mistake. I make sure my loyalty runs deep, and just so much Miami done for me, basically my career, and I was just telling the guys today, just the amount of people and the players that stepped on this practice field, what we've done, and just running down the list of all the guys that practice under here, it's a blessing, So Miami always meant the world to me because it's my college. This is that orange and green. It's nothing like it. And I try to tell people all the time, there's no university like the University of Miami. That's just what it is. So it's good to see us kind of slowly getting back to how the game needs to be played down here. The level of competitiveness that we need, that we built over the decades. It's just good to see what Mario is doing and the coaching staff is doing with the young men. They're buying in, and they're starting to see that it works. So I'm looking forward to our next couple years, starting getting the recruits and start to put Hurricanes back on the map. So that's what I'm looking forward for.
So whatever you want to reveal, you had a chance. I think you addressed the defensive line group after practice. So what was the message you shared with them?
Well, I was just basically letting them know, like, hold each other accountable. In this game and in life, I'm never the one to feel sorry for myself. Anything I wanted, I went and got it. I worked hard. I went and got it. I earned my respect. I wasn't waiting for anybody to give me anything. I was never given anything. I earned everything I have in life, and I was just letting them know, like, you have to put it together. You have to put it together. And I told them they have an opportunity to do something that we haven't done in 2 decades, is bring the U back. And it's time. And I think this team, and I think the way Mario is spearheading this ship, I think they're heading in the right direction. Is it perfect? No. But you name one college team out there that's perfect. It's not. So the goal is to just each week get better and better. I think we've been doing that. And I think as the season progresses, we'll start to see more better play, guys starting to have a little bit more fun. And I just told them, just hold each other accountable, and
Why is that important?
because, sometimes as college and as friends, you can go hang out and you can have a good time and you can party and everything, and then you come to practice when that guy messes up, you might not want to stay with him because that's your buddy, but at the same time, I have to be able to depend on this guy next to me, and he has to be able to depend on me. So we can't have the coaches hold us accountable. As your friend and as your teammate, I need you to hold me accountable, because I'm going to hold you accountable. I don't never want to mix that up, because we're here for one thing, and that's to win. We can have a good time outside of football and all that, but when we here, it's one beat. It's one heartbeat. And I need you at your best. And I think it's very important for these guys, and I did in the NFL, we held each other accountable. It's like, hey, when you screw up, I'm going to tell you screwed up. I still love you, but that screw up can cost us a game. That screw up can cost us a championship. That screw up can cost us a turnover. So I need you to be alert, and I need you to be accountable of your own actions, because when the game's on the line and now I need something from you and I need your best, I have to have the trust that you know what you're doing. And it's hard to get that, especially at this age they're at, but that's something that they have to learn. And the more they play football, the more they understand that level of play and how important it is to do your job and know what you're doing, be in the right place. They'll learn it, but you have to start giving them things so they can understand the meaning behind and why you need to do things a certain way, or why you need to do this, or, I thought we was friends. Yeah, we friends, but at the same time, we got a job to do, you know.
Well, that
So,
becomes the priority, right? And if it's
Absolutely.
not the priority, and I think if you've talked to Mario, I mean, I'm sure you have talked to Mario, understanding that for him, there's only, right, there's one goal.
one goal. It's always one goal. When you play in a sport, it's only one goal, you know.
And for him, there's a certain way to get there. And
Yeah.
and I think that appeals to you, does it not?
Yeah, absolutely, because you know Mario, he was at Alabama, he went to Oregon, he went all these places, and when he was at Alabama, he was he coached up under Saban. Well, Saban tree is Bill Belichick tree, so I kind of know how that program worked because I did it my whole career with Bill Belichick, so I know the ins and outs of how he want to get things done, and it's proven. That's the thing; it's proven. Like you can cut on the tape and of practice and see. I'm pretty sure see Alabama practice and see the Patriot practice, and you see the Miami practice. It's the same.
You saw that out there today.
It runs the same exact way, and that's a good thing. You know, it's a good thing. And the way people do stuff now is different than when I played. You know, they have a lot more things at their fingertips now with the nutritionists, with new stuff and this, that, and you name it, they got it. But the level of play ain't gonna never change. No, this is what we have to do to be successful. And if you don't believe me how it's played, I can put on Alabama and see them winning championships, and I can go to pro. I can put on New England Patriots, see them winning championships, and I can even go back and go see the New York Giants when they win the championships. So they're getting a whole deal of things from programs that's been very successful doing it this way. And it's important for them to buy in and understand, like, no, it's not just at the college level. This happened in the pros in the 80s with the Giants when Bill was over there with Parcells, and then it happened in 2000 when the Patriots, we ran, basically NFL for 2 decades at that level.
Yeah,
so
down here we're a little upset about that.
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But it's the proof is in the pudding, and Mario have a lot of different ways that he can show them that this works, and they can get it.
Last thing is, you just said it works, and I think the seeds of all of it comes in the work. And anyone that looks at you just when you played saw a big, giant, strong human, but when you listen to Bill Belichick speak about you, it was about your work, it was about your knowledge, it was about your preparation, it was about your football IQ, above and beyond anything. So regardless of your talent and ability, you use the word work, and I imagine that's paramount.
Everything comes from work. I was raised by a mother and father that, the world's going to give you what you give in. The world's going to give you what you put in it, right? And it was always hard work. Anything you want, you have to work hard for it. You can't look for a handout. You have to work hard. So my whole life, everything I've done, I worked hard for. I grind. I had the mindset of I have to do this because this is how I have to survive. I do this because I love it. I played football because I love it. And anything I got into, I wanted to be the best. So it takes, I always ask people, what's going to separate you from the next player? What's going to separate good players from great players? What's going to separate great players from elite players? What is it? And I always try to find that and figure that out. And I think I did a pretty good job over my career of doing those things because I wanted to go over and beyond of just, sitting down and looking at film with the team and say, okay, that's good. Or watching 5-10 minutes of, film by myself, okay, that's good. No, I put the work in, and I learned the game from the inside out. I took a game to a whole nother level that I could have played linebacker if I wanted to. I could have played cornerback if I wanted to. I could have played safety if I wanted to. Of course, my size wouldn't allow me, but I'm saying from a understanding the game standpoint, or even offensively, I can play a quarterback. There was no position on the field I couldn't play because I knew it. I trained myself. I learned it. I learned the motions. I learned formations. I learned quarterback pivot. I learned route tree. I learned all those things. So all of those things helped me as a professional, and then helped me still plays. And what I mean by that is, from my film study, and I can look at a receiver split, or I can look at the running back depth, where the tight end is at, and I see a certain formation. Well, I knew that formation, there were certain things they like to do. So that's how I would steal plays through my preparation. And that's how I made plays. Because being a nose tackle, I'm not known for making plays. You down there, you got the dirty work.
No, I watched. I saw some of what you had to endure, and that didn't look like fun.
Yeah, so I'm like, hey, listen, I'm the first one forming a pile. I'm the last one getting up. By the time I'm getting up, they're already back at the ball. So it's like I had the dirty work job.
Well, the reason why I asked you that question, Vince, is because I think coming out of someone like your mouth. Mm-hmm. Whether it's people on our team currently or even just people in the world outside of other professions, like you can't cheat you know what I'm saying? Like there's no other way but one way.
You can't take a pill. You can't take a pill to be successful. You can't. The only way to be successful, you have to put the work in. You can't drink anything. You can't take no pill. There's no shot you can take to be great. You have to put the work in. You have to physically put the work in.
Why I ask people like you that have come on here to speak on that is because I want everyone to understand, they didn't just show up.
No, and I have this conversation a lot with people, and a lot of people look at football on Sundays and be like, oh man, I could do that. Or why he ain't just do this? I would have did it. You don't understand the level.
If you gave someone an NFL playbook. They'd have no clue.
They have no clue.
Or a college playbook for that.
They'll know it to an extent, but it's more than knowing. You have to be able to execute it under high demand. And that's what people fail to realize. Football is a demanding sport. It's not basketball where we shooting, it's a skill, where you can have a center shoot the ball. That's basketball. It's a skill. Baseball is a skill. You hitting the ball, you feeling the ball. Everybody have their skill set. But football, anybody can't just roll out there and say, I'm playing football today. It ain't going to happen.
We were just talking about that with my son, right?
You're right.
It's like there's a certain mentality, there's a physicality to the sport and understanding. So let me ask you this, since we're really doing this right off the practice field, Mario has a line, big people beat up little people. So did you catch some of the offensive linemen?
Absolutely. And that was one of the things I told the defensive line. And I said, listen, the game starts up front. However you slice it, offensively, defense, it starts up front. If you can't block, we're going to have a long night. Defensively, you can't make plays and knock the offensive lineman back, we're going to have a long game. So I wanted them to understand how important it is as a lineman, how important it is for us, because it's very important. Without a line, without a quarterback protection, if he don't have a left tackle or a right tackle that can protect him, he's not playing with confidence. You understand? So up front, it starts there. We got to be able to move the ball offensively and defensively. We got to be able to stop them, and then at the same time, we got to be able to make plays. We have to make it for our offense can run the ball, or our quarterback can throw the ball downfield, or defensively give our DBs and our secondary chances for turnovers with them. It starts up front. So I'm a big advocate of that. People always, we have this argument all the time saying, what's the most important, position on the field? Well, they're all important, but I'm like, without an offensive defensive line, you can't do nothing. It's simple as that. Because guess what? As a defensive lineman, I can go play quarterback and hand the ball off every time. You see what I'm saying? So,
right.
But all these sports are very important. Every sport have their specialty, and I respect all sports, but football is just one of them sports. You just can't roll out there and say, I'm going to play today. It don't work like that.
Last thing, I promise we're going to get into, because this is the behind the news with your story, but while you're talking to the defensive group at practice, then you look over the corner, you see JT. Mm-hmm. I know you played a different scheme with Bill, but if you had a nice pass rushing edge like that back in your day, but I think he exudes a lot of the things you exude.
Man, JT is a hell of a ball player, hell of a coach, hell of a person. He knows football. Absolutely, we think alike, and the way he played, the things he did at his size was amazing. I used to love to see him play because a guy that size running around the edge, bull rushing the guy, coming in, he can play ball anywhere. So I respect this game to a whole nother level. And I'm happy he's down here with the Hurricane helping our guy because he has so much knowledge to give these guys. And that's why I told them today, I said, you got coaches that played the game and played at a high level. They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. It's up to you guys to execute it. So you better listen. I'll pay anything to have, a Hall of Fame be my coach or to tell me how to do certain stuff. It's a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't I listen? So seeing JT and Joe, man, I love our defensive line coaches, and they're going to get our boys right. I know that 110% they will.
All right, you've said this before. I think you either said it or insinuated it. Like you loved football.
Oh yeah.
And you wanted to be great.
Yeah.
So my question for you though is, why do you love the sport so much, and where did that desire come from?
Well, I think I fell in love with that sport because my father, he used to coach Little League growing up, and I never played. I played 1 year of flag, and all the other years I was either too big or too young. So I was always around my father in football, and our Sundays we would watch football. So I think it was just one of those things. I was born to be a football player. I really do believe that. And I never ever thought of, when it was time for me to go to high school and play football, I never thought of anything else. Now, between
I was going to ask you, because you said there was a huge gap
Yeah,
where you did
yeah.
not play.
No,
So
I played basketball.
It would have been easily to lose
Yeah,
the
I
love,
played-
but you didn't.
No, I played basketball from the age of 5 up until high school because I couldn't. That's the only thing I could play. So I played basketball. And I became pretty good at basketball, but when it was time for me to play football, it was a no-brainer for me because I was destined to be a ball player. I love the game. Maybe it's the violence. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the physicality towards it, but I just loved it, and that's why I stayed on my path, and I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't have had a career I would have had if I would have called it quits. But yeah, it was just one of those things when you see somebody growing up and you be like, okay, he's going to be this or he's going to be that. I was one of those guys, you would look at me when I was young like, oh yeah, he's going to be a football player, so, and it worked out well for me.
I think it did. It
worked out pretty good. Not too shabby.
No, I think a lot of us would take it. Now, you grew up a Hurricane fan?
Absolutely, 100%. It was something about orange and green. Back in those days, in the 80s, we was on TV. That's what I saw. I saw the swag. I seen us having fun. I seen the Orange Bowl. I seen that orange and green. I seen that U. And was like, man, I wanted everything. I wanted all that smoke. I mean, it was no question where I was going. And I was recruited from every team you could possibly, from every college. I was recruited. I used to have bags filled with college letters. I'm talking unopened because I was always just waiting for one, and
it took a little while, didn't it?
Yeah, it took until the beginning of my junior year. But I think they kind of knew they had me in the bag, so they was like, we don't have to worry about it. We'll just send it. But when they offered me, I took it. I knew where I was going, and that was the only one I was waiting for. So my dream came true to be a Hurricane, to wear that orange green, play in the Orange Bowl, one of the best stadiums ever, and my career took off.
You also had a reverence for the history because you talked about the swag, but you also talked about the guys who played your position and what they meant to you growing up.
Yeah, man, one of my closest friends, I became really close with him. God bless his soul, was Cortez Kennedy. He was a guy that I would talk to on a daily basis. I would go see him. Like our relationship became really, really, really good.
While you were here?
When I got to the league, but it started while I was here.
Got it.
But it was nothing to have former players, be around and take you up under their wing. But I also saw the history of the defensive tackles, from Jerome Brown to Russell Malley, Cortez, Sapp, and I was like, man, I wanted to be that. And I remember seeing an interview one day, and Ray Lewis was talking, and he was like, if you want to do 3 years and go to the league, come to University of Miami. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do, I want to do 3 years and be done. I'll be 3 and done, but it just showed what the University of Miami was. We pumped NFL players. And the crazy thing is, not only do we pump them, We punch some really good ones and have a great career and a long career. And that's what people fail to realize is the longevity that some of us done had. You know, with myself, 13 years. I think Reed somewhere around 13, 14 years. Ray Lewis, as long as he was.
Yeah, the running back that just hung it up, Frank
Right,
Gore.
Frank Gore,
18.
right? You know, Ray himself. Like, the longevity that we played at a high level, you know, I mean, show me where they do that at for one university. It's hard. It's hard. I know for the past 2 decades we haven't been what we supposed to be. I get that. But still, with us taking the break and letting people catch back up, I think it's still going to be hard to catch up to us. Because what the University of Miami stands for and our foundation and what we produce down here, we produce ballers, straight dogs. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Simple as that. That's what it is, you know. And I was just talking to High Spirit today. It's like we sit with 9 Hall of Famers in the NFL Pro Hall of Fame.
You gotta make that 10, by the way.
And, you know, I think USC or somebody have 14. That's the record. Well, if you look back, if you think about it, Devin Hessler's 1, Frank Gore's 2, Reggie Wayne's 3, Andre Johnson's 4. I'm the only question mark.
Come on.
So with 4, that put us at 13. If I can jump that, that put us at 14. So with 2 decades of being taken off, and not to mention some of the guys that are still playing, like Calais Campbell, the career he's having. So there ain't no college football without the University of Miami. I don't care how long you've been standing. It just doesn't matter. I don't care how many you've won. I don't care how recent you done won. It doesn't matter. When you mention the University of Miami, it's University of Miami and everybody else. Simple as that.
And by the way, not if but when, I can only imagine. I can only imagine what it's going to be like.
Oh, it's going to be bananas now.
And I've told people, like, you got to see it. I don't think they understand when they see it.
Yeah.
For the players, like if you can put that picture in your mind of what you want to accomplish, and then knowing how long it's been and how you will be revered.
Yeah. You know, I've never, and I'm still not really. The Hall of Fame would be cool. It would be tremendous accomplishment in my career. But, you know, I never once played to be a Hall of Famer. You know, I played the game because I loved it. You know, so if that happens to come, I'll be grateful for it. But if it don't, I'm still grateful because I did what I loved. You know, I won Super Bowls. I've been All Pros. I've been in Pro Bowls. You name it, I've done it. You know, so I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish playing the game that I love. I've accomplished that. So if God doesn't bless me with anything else with football, I'm totally fine with that. I'm okay.
But you have said, if you could have played college, all that you did in the pros, if you could, you said if you could play college forever, you'd do it.
Yeah, I would, because college was just so fun. Just the camaraderie that I had, the teammates that I had.
Who were your guys? Like who'd you hang with? I know
Ed,
who's on the teams. But who were your
Ed, Vilma, you know, DJ. That's the thing. It's like when I say Miami is a brotherhood, we're a brotherhood. We all did things together. Like it was always something going on that we was always there. So it was like, you name it, we there. Even in the league, it's like we get together, we call each other. Think about the one year that they had the Pro Bowl down here in Miami, right? Do you remember how many Hurricanes was on that Pro Bowl? I think it was like 18 of us or something crazy. So we basically was the Pro Bowl.
Right.
Like, where do they do that at what college? So people don't understand because they don't want to understand what the University of Miami is. Now I think it's time for us to reintroduce ourselves and let the world know who we are, you know, and I think this group with Cristobal now and these group of kids and the staff he have, I think they're putting us right back on track so we can be relevant again.
I was curious about something, Vince. So you talk to the players out there about, you know, kind of don't wait for your coaches, take it upon yourself, etc. So you come in, we know what you have done since, obviously, your career. But when you walked in, who or what let you know what you were walking into? You know what I mean? Like who?
Well, I think when I first got here, it was all of. I knew the expectation. Nobody had to tell me when I was
Whose word carried weight with you when you got here?
Ed Reed. Ed Reed, wait, word carried a lot. Al Blades. Um, I think those two, my defensive guys. Um, it was just, and then also like, we had what Fitzgerald, Rump, we had Phillip. I mean, we had so many other guys that had roles on the team, but it was like, you know what time it is when you're a Hurricane.
But you walked into what they say is the best team of
Yeah,
all.
we
Like
were
you
the
walked
best.
into.
Yeah.
So how quickly did it take you to figure out there are a lot
It
of
ain't
dudes
take me
on
no
this
time
field?
because I always looked at myself one of the best, so it didn't matter.
You fit right
I
in.
I never shied away from workouts. I never shied away from challenge. People got to understand. My first 2 years here, I sat the bench. I sat behind William Joseph and Matt Walters. I was a second string. So
I think that blows people's mind, not just for you. Like I think Andre Johnson redshirted.
yeah,
I
like,
mean,
but
there are a lot of Sean Taylor. I think either redshirted or
yeah,
obviously came.
but think about that. I'm second string for 2 years. Started 1 year, and I'm out in 3 years. What I tell you? That I wasn't playing around. I wasn't playing around because I knew the type of ball player I was. Because I knew my mentality. I know a lot of people can't match my mentality, and a lot of my ways is my mentality. And football was easy. For me, football was easy. I was one of those guys. I wanted to tear your face off as much as I could. I wanted to punch in your face much as I could. I'm gonna be the one walking out. When I'm done, I'm gonna walk out victorious. However you slice it, whatever I had to do to tell myself.
Where was that? Where'd that?
I just think that's how I grew up my life. Struggling life, just um, how basically surviving. It just I wanted to be the best ever. And I was just a mean person. I was a mean player. And it translated over into my life being mean and all that, and I had to fix that. So. But it's just the mentality I had as an athlete is I'm gonna take your face off as much as I could. I want to. That's what's going to happen. I'm not telling you. I'm telling you because I want you to understand this. It's not gonna last for 1 quarter. It's not gonna last for 2 quarters. It's not gonna last for 3 quarters. It's gonna last for 4 quarters, and if more. I'm gonna make sure you understand that. So it was just my mentality I had that. I was a bad boy. I told myself I was the baddest on the field. I told myself that. That's how I got. That's how I got ready. That's how I played. I love challenge. I love to see if you can stand 4 quarters with me, being hit in your face every snap. I didn't take a play off. I didn't want to take. I never wanted the offensive lineman to get away with nothing because I wanted to make sure they felt my weight, my strength, my mentality.
You enjoyed that.
I absolutely. That's what made my career. I wanted to take souls. That's how I was. Plain and simple. It wasn't nothing else to it. Because once again, my teammates held me accountable. So if I wanted to expect out of Ed Reed, I got to do what I got to do. And I got to show you that I'm worthy of being a Hurricane. I'm going to show you this. And same thing in the NFL. New England drafted me coming off a Super Bowl win. First draft pick. And this is after they got rid of Ted Washington and they drafted me. So now it's like, okay, now I got to show them that they didn't make the wrong pick. My first year I won a Super Bowl there and went on to have a great career there. So my mentality run deep. That orange and green run deep. And I think it was easy for me because my teammates had the same mentality. We didn't take losing. Losing wasn't an option for us. It wasn't. Nobody was going to outwork us. It's not going to happen. We work harder than anybody. I remember waking up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning training. Used to be a group of guys. Ed Reed was part of it. It was about 10 of us. We used to get up with our strength coach at the time, Andrew Swayze, and we'd be the first one to work out. We used to work out with no lights outside. We would run in the dark. And people don't understand how we train people don't do what we've done. We had to run 8 200-yard dashes, right? 200s under time. And guess what? It was probably me and another teammate, Santonio Thomas. We was the only lineman there. But guess what? If we wanted to work out, we had to run with them. We had to run time. And you know what they did to us? We was the rabbit. And if we wasn't the rabbit on the first one when we nice and fresh, like they'll put us the rabbit like the last couple to make sure we run. And that's what we were built doing. Our mentality was just different. We didn't care we was running 200-yard dash and had to be under a certain time. All we knew is, hey, they can't catch us. We have to be under this time, and we running with DBs and receivers. That's how we train, with no lights outside. And then after that, we come in and work out. So we were always pushed ourselves. We didn't need a coach to push us. You know, we had a bunch of leadership. The coaches knew that too, though. You know, they knew we had a lot of guys that we're going to hold each other accountable. We're gonna get each other's best. And when we don't get each other's best, the coach didn't have to get on us. We got on each other. And that's what made us so great.
So I'm going to give you a quote that you mentioned, and you'll probably smile when you hear it. It came from Andrew Swayze, who I know. But when you said it, it kind of made me smile as well. And I guess at one workout during your career, he said, just because you're breathing hard, finish it.
You're tired. Yeah, absolutely. He was that. And that went for the rest of my career. And when he said it, it was at a time that we was winning ball games, but I think it was just one of those practices that he was running us just to run us. And we was like, man, this is stupid, whatever. And he saw us breathing. He seen how the team was, and he was like, you tired? Y'all tired? And we knew that was a trick question, first of all. So
no one better say yes, right?
Yeah, right. So we was like, no, we ain't tired. He said, just because you breathing hard doesn't mean you're tired. And I believe everybody that was there that heard that kind of like, dang, he right. He right. And that was a quote that I carried for the rest of my career. Because every time I felt myself getting winded, I would tell myself that because I trained too hard. And he explained it to us. He's like, I train y'all too hard to be tired. So I always knew how I train, I'm going to always have something in the tank. And that was one of the quotes I hold on for dear life.
Now, I don't want to pretend to be a psychologist, but you mentioned before that you were mean and you had to work some stuff out. You've talked very openly about the loss of your parents, and I think that you just got inducted to the Patriots Hall of Fame, so congratulations. But you said something there that really resonated with me, which was that you played your career with a heavy heart. Yeah. And I'm wondering how much of that pain for that time also was pushing you and maybe shaping how you were playing.
You know, I think looking back now, because, you know, I never had a chance to mourn. I never had a chance. I didn't know how to handle losing my parents.
Can I ask you, sorry, I'm going to interrupt. I know you lost your parents in 2002, right?
Right.
Within 6 months.
Right.
Now, I was just getting started here at UM as a broadcaster. That year was the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah. Did you leave? I have a memory of you being out with the team, leaving and coming back. Do I have that right?
No, a lot of people don't understand. I quit. When I lost my mother that year, December 16th, we was going to the Fiesta Bowl, and I had quit football. And my coach at the time, Greg Mark, you know, that year, he would be in and out. Like, we'll go to practice and he'll be leaving, so we'll have another coach watch film with us and stuff. And, you know, we used to always give him crap about leaving us. He don't love us and all that, but we would joke about it. And so I told the team, I was like, nah, I'm done with football. You know, I was done. And I remember him. The team was leaving, and he came back in, and he was like, you know, the reason I wasn't around much watching film and stuff is because he was dealing with someone that was dealing with cancer. And I was like, now all of a sudden I feel bad. I'm like, holy crap. So he was like, you know, I just want you to do what your mom and dad would want you to do. And like I said, I had just lost my mom, but 6 months later before I lost my father, so I'm like, whatever. Wasn't trying to hear it. And I took some time to really think about it, and a little voice came in my head like, do what you love, and it was a woman's voice, and my mom used to always tell me that, do what you love. So I called the team. I said, hey, listen, I want to play. So they flew me out. I think I got there like on a Wednesday or Thursday, something like that. Got one practice and played the game. But yeah, I had quit. But I think losing my parents and went through life, I was floating. And I didn't realize it at the time I was floating, because that's all I knew. Football, that's all I had. And I floated. I floated for all my years and playing football. I floated and never understood why I would be certain ways, why I would be so mad, why I had resentment, why I would just be who I am. Why all I did was play football. That's what.
And
I
it was
wanted.
tied to the loss of your
Lost
mom and
my
dad?
parents. I never really got closure because I didn't have time. I was in college, with a baby on the way.
You had to grow up fast,
I
Vince.
grew up fast, and people don't understand. I've been raising my brother and I. We've been taking care of my father since I was 8 years old. And I'm talking physically, picking him up and taking him to the restroom, shower and bathe him. Since I was 8. And then turn around 10, 11 years old, our grandmother, she dies in our arms. So as a kid, I've seen and been through a lot. And a lot of people don't understand what I've been through. Even people to this day that I went to school with, they don't understand what was going on in my household. Nothing bad, but it's just taking care of my father. It's a lot of stress. Parents out of work, nobody working. So it's like nobody understood that. So I'm pretty sure people will hear this today and they'll be like, holy crap, I never knew that. Because you know why? I always kept a smile on my face and I kept it moving. Even when I played in the NFL, I kept a smile on my face.
But inside it was different.
Inside it was tearing me up. Inside I was lost. Inside I was just a sad human being. I wasn't right inside. But football was my saving grace.
Is that where that was the outlet?
I think football got everything I had because that's all I had. Because I lost my mom and my dad. I lost it. So I played football because of them. It wasn't even for me. I loved it.
Right.
I definitely loved it, but I played ball because I know the struggles it was to eat and see my mom and my dad struggle through life. I didn't want them to struggle anymore, so I did football, and I wanted to make sure I made it because of them, to get them out of everything that they're, to get them living a peaceful life. So when I lost them, it was like, man, piece of my heart still gone. So it's like, whatever. I'm going to pour everything I have into football because that's what they want me to do. But football carried me. Football kept me alive. It kept me sane. That's my outlet. Football was my outlet.
And when you were done, when you retired, were you sort of able to reconcile it all?
Oh,
Have you been
man.
able to put yourself in a good place with all of it?
Yes. When I finished football, I went, I did some counseling, and healed, and at first I was ashamed to not know certain things about life, but I was like, why be ashamed when I didn't know? Like if I knew, it was different, but if I didn't know, I just didn't know. So I took a lot of pressure off myself for not knowing certain stuff and doing certain things a certain way. I took a lot of pressure off myself when I understood, like, no, you was a kid. You've been through trauma since you was 8, trauma. And I had to heal. That process I had to heal. So with a lot of work with counselors and stuff and everything, therapists and everything, it brought me out on top. Now I can look back and, I'm grateful and I'm thankful for a lot of things that happened in my life, even my bad stuff, bad things that happened to me, bad people. I thank them because it forced me to see people a certain way and learn, So I have no regret in life whatsoever. No regret. if I had to do everything all over again, I'd do the same thing. I play football.
At Miami.
At Miami, absolutely. At University of Miami, the U.
So last thing, it's like I said when we started this, I met you at the Texas A&M game. I asked you to come on. You were happy to do it.
Absolutely.
You were at practice. You're around the program. You said you hadn't really been around much because you've been living in Houston or playing.
Yeah.
So the fact, as we put some closure on this, how has it been for you to be back, to be around, to just, you were out on the place where you grinded it out for 3 or 4 years. You're wearing you're wearing the U on your, like, how does?
I'm proud. It's like I never left. Being on the practice field, just remembering everything that went on here when I was here and how much the place has grown, the additions and stuff. Like, I feel at home when I'm on a football field, but especially when I'm Green Tree, like, it's just different. Seeing the players, seeing those colors, just remembering the practice field and just remembering, okay, the soccer field, that's in the track, that's where we ran our 200s in the dark. So all of that stuff, like, I can visualize everything of where I was. The sand pit, it's like
in the back.
It's like in the back. It's like all those things I can envision, and then we used to have 3 fields, and there was one over here just running like man, it just brings back so many memories, and I'm just so happy to be able to be here and come back. And the reason I wasn't around is because I've always moving around. I'm working and doing this, but now I had about 2 months to be down here.
And you told me before we did this, you said you called Mara and you told him, I need to be here.
I need to be here. I need to be here. So, and I'm here. Because I want to give this university a piece of me, because guess what? They gave me a scholarship to be a part of this great culture. So the least I can do is give back however way I could, come back to the university. And if it's talking with some players on the field and talking with some coaches or telling stories, whatever it may be. So Mario knows, like, whatever he needs from me, I'm willing to do it, because Hurricane is home. This is home, baby. And it don't get no better than this, trust me.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for doing this, Vince Wilfork.
Congratulations
on the UM Hall of Fame. Congratulations on the Pats. I'll my word doesn't mean much, but I hope you get the trifecta.
I hope so.
Get that other jacket, and it's good having you around. It's good having you around. Appreciate you telling stories, and appreciate you sharing it with us.
Not a problem, man. Last thing but not least, man, I'm thinking about opening up a barbecue restaurant down here. So
let's do it.
Let's keep an eye on that. So
let's
hopefully get some stuff in the works.
All right. Thank you, Vince.
All right, thank you, my man.